Today we talk about the current UFC lightweight contender Charles "Do Bronx" Oliveira. What people love about Charles is his brash personality and energetic demeanor. He stays true to himself, his fighting style, and diverse background. But it's Charles' kickboxing, fight IQ, relentless takedowns, and submissions that have made him a staple in the UFC lightweight division. Charles has won 9 of his past 10 fights, including a current 8-fight win streak. In this video, we recap Charles' most dominant performances to date. Let's get into it. Tony Ferguson. Tony and Charles met at the co-main event of UFC 256 in a pivotal lightweight fight. This fight would likely determine who gets the next crack at the title. Oliveira came out aggressively. He is attacking Ferguson with high and low kicks, plus charging forward with combinations. Ferguson hits some counters, but Oliveira gets a big takedown less than 90 seconds into the fight. Oliveira goes to work from the top position. He advances to mount shortly, putting Ferguson in danger of submission and strikes. He worked away for the next few minutes before transitioning to an armbar in the final seconds of the first round, which badly twisted Ferguson's arm. Tony was saved by the bell as the round ends. Oliveira smelled blood and comes forward aggressively to start the second round. Ferguson's arm appeared to be compromised. Charles pushed forward with strikes before securing another takedown less than a minute into the second round. Oliveira dominated from top position, chopping away at Tony with strikes and keeping him on the bottom for the remainder of the round. Charles is up on the scorecards but didn't relent with his attack in round 3. He took Ferguson down again, controlled him, and attacked with submissions. He couldn't finish Tony but cruised to a unanimous decision victory. Kevin Lee. Kevin Lee and Charles met at UFC Fight Night in Brazil in March of 2020 in a top lightweight contenders bout. Lee came out aggressive and hit an early takedown, but Oliveira immediately went for heel hooks and leg locks off his back. Lee managed to scramble out of bad spots, but he kept wandering into submission attempts. Charles continues to attack and mount a fence off his back, making it difficult for Lee to land strikes and pass the guard. Hence, Kevin is mounting no real offense after landing takedowns. The first round would end with Kevin escaping another submission attempt and landing a few strikes on Charles. The second round displayed Oliveira's much improved stand-up game, stalking Lee while landing uppercuts and straight punches. These men traded hard strikes, but it is Charles who landed the punches that make Lee move back. Lee counters with a takedown, but Kevin gets tangled up in submission attempts again. But Lee postures up and lands strikes this time. He passes the guard and is able to mount some offense as the second round ends. Charles is still coming forward to start the third round. He walks Lee down as the men trade strikes. Lee is forced to land a defensive takedown. Oliveira locks in a guillotine choke as they hit the mat. Charles straightens it up and Lee is forced to tap. Charles wins by submission in round 3. Jared Gordon. Jared and Charles met at UFC Fight Night in November of 2019. Gordon comes out straightforward to start the fight, having very little respect for Charles' power. Gordon attempts a takedown, but the men scramble and end up back on their feet where they trade strikes. Gordon continues to move forward and Oliveira connects with hard right hands that stun Gordon. As Gordon attempts to regain his whereabouts, Oliveira connects with a vicious uppercut. Gordon goes crumbling to the canvas. One follow-up shot and the fight was over. Charles wins just 86 seconds into round 1. Nick Lentz. Nick and Charles met at UFC Fight Night in May of 2019. Oliveira was aggressive from the opening bell. Oliveira was quick with his punches and kicks. Charles is landing a wider variety of strikes, while Lentz was content to throw single jabs and hooks. These men continue to trade strikes, with Charles effectively using his size and length to land strikes from a distance. Lentz shoots for a takedown, but Charles reverses the position and ends up on top. Oliveira begins to land elbows from top position before Nick tries to create space and scrambles to his feet as the first round ends. In the second round, Oliveira began to attack more. The pressure forced Lentz to shoot in for a takedown, and Lentz finds himself in a tight guillotine choke from Charles, but Lentz eventually escapes. After a timeout due to an illegal upkick from Charles, Oliveira connects with a punch that floors Lentz. Oliveira attacked more until the bout was waved off. Charles wins by knockout in the second round. David Tamer. David and Charles met at UFC Fight Night in February of 2019. After some eye pokes to start the fight, Oliveira rushed forward to attack with a leaping kick that landed and busted up David's right eye. As Oliveira continued to push, David landed a left hand that dropped Charles to the floor. David didn't follow, and Oliveira got back to his feet, where the technical brawling continued. Oliveira then immediately shot forward, got a hold of David, and dragged him to the canvas. David scrambled back to his feet after a few moments. The men trade strikes as the first round ends. They continued to trade strikes in the second round. Oliveira landed a brutal short elbow that clearly stunned David. An uppercut followed, and David backsteps and falls against the cage. Oliveira rushed with punches as his opponent turned his back. David tried to stay alive, but Oliveira grabbed the neck and latched in the choke, quickly earning the tap via Anaconda Choke 55 seconds into the second round. Jim Miller. Jim and Charles met in a rubber match at UFC Fight Night in December of 2018. Oliveira comes out to grab a body lock on Jim and slam him to the mat. Instantly, Oliveira took back control, and Miller is in big trouble. Miller scrambles to his knees and forces Oliveira to reset the choke, but Oliveira rolls to his back and has the arm under the neck. Miller tries to defend, but there is nowhere to escape. Charles seals up the choke and Miller taps. Oliveira wins just 75 seconds into the first round and avenges his loss to Miller. Christos Giagos. Christos and Charles met at UFC Fight Night in September of 2018. The two men exchanged punches in the first few minutes of the fight. Christos is staying mobile and not getting himself trapped against the fence. Oliveira took the center of the octagon, stalking and waiting on Christos to give him an opening for the takedown. Christos stayed tight with his striking combinations and used his range effectively. Oliveira times a takedown perfectly late in the round, but Christos worked himself back to his feet. Charles attempted a second takedown, but Christos defended as the bell rang. Oliveira starts the second round more aggressively with his striking, though Christos counters well in the exchanges. Oliveira is consistently getting hit with counters from Christos. Still, Oliveira is controlling the position from the center and forcing Christos to fight with his back against the cage. Halfway into the second frame, Oliveira moved inside, immediately took the fight to the floor and got his opponent's back. Then he moved the arm under the neck and squeezed, earning a quick tap from Christos. Charles wins by submission in the second round. Clay Guida. Clay and Charles met at UFC Fight Night in June of 2018. Both men came out quickly, circling on the outside. Oliveira used low kicks early. Guida tried to counter with punches over the top but struggled to land clean. Oliveira is landing stiff jabs that did some damage to Guida's right eye. After a particularly sharp exchange that included another stiff Oliveira jab, Guida shot for a takedown inside and fell directly into Charles' guillotine choke. Oliveira squeezed tight as he dropped to guard. He turned to his right side and forced Guida to tap at the 2-minute 18-second mark of the opening round. Will Brooks. Both men take the center of the cage. Oliveira kicks Brooks' lead leg and then moves outside. He kicks high, but Brooks blocks it. Brooks counters with an inside leg kick, then another. These men continue to trade kicks and punches. Then Oliveira ties Will up and trips him to the canvas. Brooks falls back into guard, then tries to walk while Oliveira holds on. He gets back to his feet 90 seconds into the round, but Oliveira slams him back down to the canvas. Then Charles takes his back with ease and wraps up a rear naked choke. Brooks fights it on his feet, but taps out. Oliveira wins by submission 2 minutes and 30 seconds into round 1. What do you think of this list? Are there any dominant performances from Charles that you think I left off the list? Who do you think can beat Charles? Let me know in the comments. Please remember to smash the like button if you enjoyed the video. It helps me out a ton. Also subscribe and hit the notification bell to get informed every time we drop a new video. I appreciate you guys watching until the end, and I'll talk to you guys again soon.